Hey guys! Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Everything you're looking for is in this video, so make sure you hit subscribe and share before we dive in. Thank you so much. The celebrity world is buzzing tonight with a claim that has sent shockwaves through fan circles and set social media on fire. A rumor about Barış Baktaş, whose rise from Turkey to projects in Italy has made him a magnetic figure across borders, has rattled even his most loyal supporters. According to whispers breaking out of Rome, a close friend of the actor spoke for the first time and dropped a confession that stirs up a mystery fans never stopped debating. Barış still hasn't let go of Yağmur Yüksel. The identity of this friend remains carefully hidden, but the emotional tone of the statements is unmistakable. It's alleged that during quiet moments in Italy, where Barış has been nurturing international collaborations and building a disciplined routine around work and fitness, he sometimes drifts back to an old flame. Those words ignited gossip circles like a match in dry tinder. He looks tough from the outside, but he carries everything inside. When the nights are long and the city calms down, I've seen him scrolling through photographs of Yağmur. His eyes glass over. Once or twice, he actually cried. Barış and Yağmur, celebrated for the kind of on-screen chemistry that spilled over into late-night fan edits and endless forum threads, were the beating heart of a rumor mill that refused to switch off. They never explicitly confirmed the romance, then drifted in different directions. Yet their audience always clung to a feeling that the string between them, however thin, never snapped. And now this confession has pulled everyone back to the same question. Is there an unfinished chapter between them? The friend didn't stop at that. The claim goes further, saying that whenever Yağmur's name comes up, Barış's voice thins out, and he steers the conversation elsewhere as though handling a live wire. New scripts, new faces, it all looks fine from the outside, the source allegedly shared. But some loves write themselves into your bones. Yağmur wasn't just a colleague. He tried to forget her. He couldn't. Those words strengthened suspicions that maybe the bond wasn't only a rumor manufactured by headlines, but a truth whose cost still tallies up in private. All eyes pivoted to Barış after this wave of claims. As usual, he chose silence. On his socials, he kept it orderly, training clips, set photos, gratitude to the teams around him, a careful balance that left zero hints about where his heart sits. He didn't respond to the whispers, didn't even acknowledge the questions hanging over his name. And Yağmur? She stayed quiet too. Her calendar looked packed, her focus seemed laser-sharp on upcoming projects, and no comment slipped through her usually measured public image. From that silence, a storm grew. Some fans sighed, writing that true love doesn't fade with time, others shook their heads, insisting the story is a balloon full of hot air. Some feelings end, but the mark remains, one comment read. Another said, Barış is disciplined yet tender. I believe him. And of course, there were those urging everyone to move on, to let two adults handle their hearts without a chorus weighing in. But the core question spiraled across gossip spaces all the same, will their paths intersect again? There isn't an answer, not now. Still, the confession has a life of its own, and it looks ready to dominate conversation for as long as their names spark against each other. Behind the curtains, the whispers grow more personal. According to crew who've watched him after long days, there are stretches when he vanishes into himself. No chatter. No jokes. A space carved out of solitude where he keeps company with old memories, early mornings on Turkish sets, long drives after rap, moments shared with the handful of people who shaped his rise. And when someone casually mentions Yağmur, the energy shifts. He turns his face a fraction, changes the subject, and the room notices the unevenness in his breath before his voice evens out again. The story now developing paints a picture of a man whose carved-out exterior is a bit softer underneath. Red carpets are still red, flashbulbs still ignite, he still signs for fans with the same practiced warmth. But the rumor says the private ledger tells a different story. A friend claims that in rare candid moments he admitted that what he felt for Yağmur ran deeper than either of them could handle under the glare, and that time hasn't managed to dull it. They say his expression flickers when someone brings her up, like a shadow touches his face and goes. He looks down. His eyes say more than he's willing to voice. He goes quiet. Naturally, this resurrected chatter takes aim at the old debate. Was it method and marketing, or something that spilled beyond the frame? Those who swear it was a machine-made showman's are now forced to sit with the possibility that the off-camera story was tangled, fragile, and fully real. And sources close to him suggest that this is exactly why he's been careful with new connections. He might meet people, flirt around the edges, even be seen at a dinner or two, but nothing appears to stick. The claim is simple. His heart hasn't completely closed one door, so another won't open. Through it all, Yağmur has kept her exact rhythm. She has worked, posted the minimum, skipped the easy bait, and let the world talk itself out. But once the rumor hit peak chatter, fans began pairing their images again, stitching old clips into new montages, turning once hushed nostalgia into a trending carousel. Scenes that once cemented their names in the same sentence ran side by side with captions that read, "I wish we could go back." And so the chorus swells. Are these confessions a coincidence or a sign? Is fate nudging them back into each other's orbits, or are we all just addicted to a beautiful story? Without their voices, the questions have nothing but echoes for company. The silence intensifies the rumor, and the rumor glows hotter in the silence, a loop that keeps them both at the center of a conversation they never started. The plot thickens with one final thread. Those close to Barış say that when he first began spending more time in Italy, it wasn't only about opportunity, it was also about putting miles between himself and what he couldn't quite untangle. But distance can be a stubborn teacher. Late at night, the story goes, he still unlocks the same folder of photographs, as if proof of what once felt simple could guide him through what now feels complicated. He pulls back from his circle when the ache swells, and every step into the public becomes a studied performance of composure. He has no interest in addressing this publicly, at least that's what the friend insists. There's a fear, they say, that letting the conversation breathe would make him seem weak, like he's losing a contest he never signed up for. Yet it's hard to keep a lid on emotion when people you trust ask the right questions. Among friends, in quiet corners, his refrain has become familiar, life sometimes hits you where it hurts the most. Then he goes still, counting out a silence that says the rest. If we zoom out, the contours of the story stay the same, even as each retelling adds new light. This is the framework, a bond that began under hot lights, tied to a season of success neither of them could fully own without the other, a private world cracking under public weight, a decision not to define anything, which left everything undefined. The years took them down separate roads, but today's rumor insists those roads still curve back toward a single crossroads, the kind you don't approach without a quiver in your chest. Industry voices add another layer. They say that if you watch him between takes, you notice the rituals. He disappears into the gym before dawn, counts his breaths, holds the plank as if endurance could scrub the mind clean. On set, he's precise, hyper-present, generous with colleagues, quick to shield his team from chaos. And yet when a certain melody plays, or a line in a scene mirrors an old exchange, a ripple moves through him fast enough to catch the eye of anyone who's paying attention. It passes. He resets. But after rap, he doesn't always join the laughter. Meanwhile, Yağmur's focus reads like a manifesto. She's careful with choices, protective of her time, a step ahead of what people expect next. Those who know her say she refuses to become the story, she prefers to be the author. This restraint only invites more curiosity, and the internet answers with all the urgency of a cliffhanger. Old behind-the-scenes giggles, half-caught glances, outtakes that once felt disposable now feel like artifacts. Of course, there's another school of thought cutting through the noise. It points out that distance and memory are notorious co-conspirators, magnifying the sweet and blurring the rest. Maybe the nostalgia belongs to the audience more than it belongs to them. Maybe both can be true at once, the memory is honest, and life has moved on. But the friend's words keep echoing, and they're hard to file away. He hasn't healed fully, this is why he won't let anything new take root. We've watched enough celebrity stories to know how this goes. The headlines surge, the denials don't come, the vacuum makes the rumor bigger. Two names become a thesis about romance, ambition, timing, and the price of wanting everything and getting almost all of it. In that sense, today's rumor is not new, it's an old song playing on a clear channel. What's new is how raw it sounds, how close it brushes to what many always suspected but never said aloud. If they cross paths again, and that's the fantasy fans keep returning to, it will likely be where they first learned to speak to each other without words. On a set, in a scene, inside a story that doesn't belong to them but lets them borrow the language they once invented together. Will the room crackle the same way? Will that invisible thread pull taut again? No one can say. They won't. And so the rumor keeps beating like a drum that no one admits they hear. For now, the scoreboard looks like this. Barış is outwardly steady, clocking his workouts, reading scripts, assembling the habits that turn talent into longevity. He knows where the cameras are and what they see. He seems fine. And yet, if the friend is to be believed, the private ledger still runs red in a single line item, her name. The choice not to date seriously, the hesitations that appear and vanish like birds, the careful way he navigates any question that arcs toward the past, these are the clues people circle in red. And as for Yağmur, the silence remains a fortress. Maybe she refuses to be policed by narratives that were never hers. Maybe quiet is her way of protecting the pieces of herself that fame can't be trusted to hold. If that's the case, she's doing it right. The crowd can sing all it wants. The show goes on. So here we are, back where we started, with a story that refuses to choose an ending. Is it a coincidence that this confession has surfaced now, with both of them on the verge of new chapters? Or is it the universe tapping its watch, asking if unfinished business wants another look? We'll keep watching, of course. That's what we do. But we'll keep our distance too, because the truth is simple and inconvenient. Some chapters aren't for us, no matter how loudly we read between the lines. Still, you can't deny what the whispers insist upon. In Italy's late-night quiet, in dressing rooms that smell like powder and coffee, in apartments where the walls are temporary because the work never lets you unpack fully, there is a man who sometimes lets himself remember. Not the schedules, not the spotlight, not the reels and ratings. Just a pair of eyes he used to read fluently, a laugh that hit him like summer, a presence that made the days shorter and the nights longer. He breathes in. He breathes out. He looks away. The phone lights his face, and he scrolls until it hurts. And every now and then, when a friend asks the question that cuts clean through the noise, he gives the same answer, the one that sounds like both a confession and a shield. Life sometimes hits you where it hurts the most. Then he shuts the door on the rest, because that's how he knows to survive what he can't yet solve. This is where we wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe and share to keep the conversation going. You're watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and we'll be here when the next chapter turns.